Welcome back to the Mad Marketing Mums podcast. Today we're doing something a little bit different, and that is to answer questions from you. So we put a little call out a few weeks ago and said, hit us up with your marketing questions. Let us know what it is that you want to know. And we've got a few questions here that we're going to go through today and share our hopefully wisdom with you, hopefully. But yeah, and give you a few ideas and strategies for your marketing. So kicking things off, the very first question we had was from Suze, and it's a goodie and one that it's going to be pretty in-depth, the answer, so buckle up. And that is, how do you plan your marketing out? Clem, I'm going to hand it over to you first of all, because I know we do things in slightly different ways.
Yeah, and look, I think there'll be a core theme with a lot of these questions that the answer will start with, it depends. Everybody's different. And that is completely the answer that I'm going to have to start with. How do you plan your marketing out? It really depends on how you are. But what I would like to do is I like to map out holidays, life events, and things that you don't want to miss. I even work with clients as well. Like we'll say, like, when are your holidays? What are things that you know that you don't want to have me calling you or focusing on marketing activities at all? Let's map those out within the calendar. And Suze Chadwick mentions doing this when we interviewed her in episode 3. I've made sure that's a priority and actually works so well in helping you manage your expectations of yourself while you're running your business. If you start that way versus starting with business first, start with life first and then do business first on your marketing calendars. But again, it all depends on how you work. You might want to do business first, which is what Claire Wood was talking about in her interview that we did in episode 17, where she talks about starting with her promotions and what she wants to promote as making the core theme of the month. So it really depends on which way you want to do it, whether that's if you want to start with your life first or if you want to start with the promotion first within your calendar. But I think really when it comes down to it is create a calendar that's going to help you build those habits to make it easy to be consistent as well. So whether you plan out a month or you plan out a fortnight and go by fortnight so that you give yourself some flexibility when it comes to creating that content, I think that's how you can start on how you plan your marketing out. Does that make sense, Krishla?
Yeah, and I think I do the same thing in terms of starting out with some key dates for your business, key dates that are related to your industry or your niche, or even your location as well. So things that are going to be relevant depending on where you are in the world. And of course, things that are going to be relevant to your ideal customer or client. So if Mother's Day matters to them, we're popping that in the calendar and we're going to make sure that we're creating content around that. Taking it back a little step, one thing that I really recommend, and I get my students doing, and actually we spoke about this in the Boss Mamas community last week. I did a content boss session for them, and that was about planning a strategic calendar. So perfect timing.
Perfect
But that
timing for this
is
question.
to create some kind of repeatable content plan. Now, I love doing a fortnightly content plan. So that way every week isn't a carbon copy. So it's like, oh, Monday, Krishla's marketing her product. Nobody's going to notice. But for yourself, it's nice to do that. And especially if you have some content pillars that you're going to talk about more frequently than others, perhaps you only want to talk about one topic or one promotion or something once every fortnight. Perhaps you don't want to do it every week. So having that fortnightly view, I think, is really useful. So I like to take my fortnightly planner and I decide on, okay, how many posts do I want to do per week or per fortnight? So say that's 5 posts a week, 10 posts in total. Then what I'm going to do from that is we're looking at, okay, what things have to be in there. So what business critical content do we need? What sales, what promotions, just what kind of things do we need in there to actually move the needle in our business? And plot that in first of all. And I like to make sure that I'm putting that in my peak times of day and days of the week. So if Friday nights you're getting lots of sales, that's the time when everyone's online, then you want to put like a business critical piece of content there. We don't want a filler piece of content. We never want filler content, let's be honest. Yeah, we want good quality content that has a purpose and it's aligned with either your business goals aligned with your ideal customer or with improving your account performance on whatever platform that you're on. But I like to start with that peak time of day and plot in that business critical piece of content. And then this is when the strategy comes in. Immediately before that, I like to post some content that is going to get engagement. Now, you know your audience better than we do. So you know the type of content that they're going to be liking, commenting, sharing, saving, all of that good stuff. Yeah. So it might be something like a funny meme. It might be a goofy reel where you're doing something silly like I did the other day with my 9-figure business.
Oh,
Like, I
love
know
that.
that content is going to fly. So I would position that immediately before that business critical piece of content so that I'm getting all that engagement and eyeballs on my account. And that's going to help to ensure that business critical piece of content actually gets seen. So it's about being a little bit strategic and leveraging one type of content or the strength of one type of content with another. And when you do this, then it doesn't really matter how many posts you're putting out a week, but it's more about the purposes behind those posts as well. Yeah, and then you fill the spaces, again, all those other spots that you've got throughout the fortnight. Okay, let's put other content types in there. So maybe you have regular content, like for us, every Monday we would have a post about the podcast coming out. Or perhaps you have a blog that comes out on a certain day. Obviously, you want to plot in that regular content so you don't forget about it. Yeah, because that can be quite easy to do. And then you can put in other bits and pieces. And you can even allow time for dynamic content as well. So, dynamic content is something like you responding to somebody's question, like we're doing here today. Or say somebody's commented on a post of yours, perhaps you create a reel in response. You might make time for that dynamic piece of content, but you don't know what it is until you get to that day. Likewise, you might also want to create time in your calendar to repost content or repurpose your content as well, which Clem and I highly recommend. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Huge time saver. But again, sometimes people need to hear your messages more than once. And of course, you're always getting new followers as well. So that would be my approach to it, is to have that kind of repeatable calendar where you're plotting in maybe the types of content. You might not know the exact piece of content until that week, but it means that you've got space for everything that you actually need, that your content is serving different purposes, and that you're leveraging the strengths of each of those content types.
Circling back to what you were saying about being strategic of when you are putting posts out, would you recommend, say, with your post scheduling platform, like if you're using Later or Metricool, they've got almost like heat maps on their calendars as to when is a prime time to post according to your audience. Would you say maybe start relying on that first, like when you're trying to gauge when is a strategic time to post?
Yes, it's a good starting point. Likewise, you can, if we're talking Instagram, because we're always talking Instagram, you can go into your Instagram insights and you can see when your audience are online, and it shows you the most popular day of the week and the most popular time of day. I don't know if you've looked at this for your audience, Clem, but my audience are on like all the time. It's just like a straight line. They're always there. In that case, what you need to do is you can pull in some other data sources. So if you were e-commerce, for example, you could go over and look at when people are buying online. And that's maybe where you find, okay, yeah, Friday nights, everyone's had a few wines and they're shopping on Instagram. That's definitely, I would say, would be a trend for lots of e-commerce businesses. For us, maybe it's Monday mornings when people say, I'm going to get my social media in order. I'm going to book that coaching call. I'm going to engage Clem to help me with my social media management, whatever that looks like. We might find then, okay, Monday mornings is a critical time to be sharing our offers. And even the Sunday night, you might want to start seeding that offer so that people who are planning ahead for the week can book in those systems. I can't wait, so I'll say that again. Even on Sunday night, there may be people who are planning for the week ahead and who want to book in those sessions and what have you. So if you've got that data, amazing. If you don't have that data, yes, you can absolutely start with some of the insights that you get from these platforms. But think about what it is that you're asking people to do. So I'll say that again, sorry. So think about what it is that you want people to do at that time. If your insights data is showing 7 a.m. on a Monday morning is a really peak time for you, great. But that might not be the best time to ask people to leave Instagram and go to your website and read a blog post, because they're going to be busy getting ready for work, getting the kids out the door for school, etc. So even though that's a peak time, you also have to consider what your audience is doing at that time and whether that piece of content is actually appropriate for that time of day.
Interesting. Sue's also had a second part to her question as well, where she said, what do you focus on and how do you keep up with changes in the market? So we split up her question to three sub questions because there's a lot to unpack in what she asked. Krishna, how do you focus when you're doing any marketing planning with your students or even for your own stuff?
First and foremost, yes, it's great to keep up with trends and what's going on in the market, but the very first thing you need to do, and you know what I'm going to say, it's coming back to your audience. So we need to focus on what our audience wants and needs at this given time. And there's lots of ways that you can find this out, but the very best way is actually to ask them. We spoke to Nadine in episode 29, I believe it was, 29, about audience research, but you can do this in a more informal way just through your day-to-day conversations with your customers and clients. You can put polls on Instagram, you could do little surveys, but it's really coming back to, okay, what is it that they actually need? That's what should be underlying all of our content decisions. So what it is that they're interested in, because then they're going to engage with that content. What it is that they need, that's going to shape your products and services, or it's going to shape your decisions around which of your products and services to share at any given time. So you may have some really big high ticket offers, and you may have some sort of short, sharp, little cheapy offers. If people are telling you that they're really struggling financially, well, you're going to share the low cost offers with them at that given time. Of course, you also want to be focusing on what's going on in your business. So what is it that you need to promote or you need to talk about? That would absolutely be my very first focus, because you can tap into trends and you can do all of this stuff. But if your audience aren't loving it, then it doesn't really matter what trends you're using or what the kind of current strategy is. If your audience don't like it, then it's not good content.
And so many of our conversations circle back to the audience. It's never, ever about us and our business. It's always about who you are serving. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely. I couldn't add anything else to that. I think that's exactly what anybody should focus on for sure. But when it comes to keeping up with changes, that again, I think depends on where you want to focus as well. If your audience is on LinkedIn, obviously you want to be focusing on what changes are coming to LinkedIn and such, because as we all know, when there are new features coming out on a platform, they want to get as much data as possible, so they want you to test them out. Best place to keep up with any features or changes in whatever platform is on the platform itself. But there are a couple people and newsletters that I follow that keep up with those changes on the social media space. LinkedIn is a brilliant place to get resources and to find data and potential changes to audiences, whether that's B2C, B2B, or even social media channels. And then newsletters for sure. Social media today, they always have quick links to news about the major social media channels, and that's a daily newsletter as well. I don't read it every day, but I do pop it open and just skim real quickly. And if there's an article in there that I really want to read, I'll dive in and read it. And then another newsletter that I get that I would highly recommend, I can't pronounce it for the life of me. I think it's called Aria. It's ARIYH. Now, it's not necessarily about channel and market changes, but it's like psychology type tidbits that would really help with how you market yourself on each platform. So helps really with if the way you want to design something for a post, etc., that'll really help you get those insights to really make those posts and those pieces of content really stand out. I absolutely love that newsletter. especially because their tips are backed by peer-reviewed studies too. So it's not just them saying it, it's like they have a science backing for what
Yes,
they're
I love
for the
that.
tips that they're telling you. Yeah, it's really good.
Later, the scheduling app, they've got a really great blog actually. I was just
Mm-hmm.
reminded of that when you're speaking about social media today. Incredible blog articles, really great relevant information. So I'd recommend that one as well if you want to get a newsletter, dive into
Mm.
some blog posts. Yeah, they've got lots of really great information and they're always updating it as
Mm.
well.
Now, in terms of people to follow, if you are more of the person that's going to go on a channel and you want to follow certain brands or people to get your information, a few people that we recommend: Matt Navarra. He's awesome. He also has a newsletter as well, but I honestly prefer reading his posts on LinkedIn than actually going onto a newsletter and opening it. To me, there's less effort. And his posts happen to appear in my feed almost every day because LinkedIn knows that absolutely love his content. So
He has
Matt
a
Navarra for sure.
subscriber channel as well, I believe.
Mm,
So you can, if you are really wanting to nerd out, if you are a marketer, for example,
yeah.
and you want the deep dive into that kind of social media intel, yeah, you can subscribe. He's got a channel, I think it's via his Instagram,
Yep.
so you can get even more than what he's sharing in those public newsletters.
Yeah, I think it's called, is it Geek Out?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
And
Geek Out.
actually,
Yeah.
here's a Facebook group too. I'm in the Facebook
Yep.
group. He's everywhere, basically. And but he's also in touch with the platforms themselves and actually working
Mm,
with Facebook and Instagram. And
yeah.
so he's got his fingers in all of those pies and has that direct knowledge. He's not one of these dudes on TikTok claiming that he just had a conversation with the head of email marketing. He's legit. He's got the connections and he's got the knowledge to take what he learns and reframe it and make it applicable to you, which I think is what really
Mm.
makes his newsletter and his other communication so successful.
Now, for Canva specifically, now this might sound random, but people to follow: Jules, who's Designer in Your Pocket, is an absolute gun at showing the new features and how to use them. She and I think are connected on TikTok. She does amazing content on Instagram and TikTok about how to use Canva and to really leverage that platform. Highly recommend following her for changes in particular that would help market your business. And then, of course, we cannot go past Todd Collins. He was episode 10, absolute phenomenal interview, but he is a fantastic person to follow to get changes, but also a professional insight to give you, I think, a sound opinion as to whether or not you should hop onto that feature or hop onto that trend, etc. Or that, not even trend as in trending audio, but trend in terms of like making content. I seriously, Todd, just keep doing what you're doing. You know that we absolutely adore you here at Mad Marketing Moms. But yeah,
Yeah,
definitely worth following him.
100%. And I like he really breaks it down. It's
Mm,
bite sized. He speaks in, he doesn't use jargon. It's
yeah.
very direct and he sometimes uses a little bit of tough love, which I'm a big fan of,
Oh,
and tells it like it is and says, if you want this, you need to do this. So I really love his post more than zero philosophy. So how
yeah.
many times a week should you post? More than zero is what he says, because, that's better than nothing. More than zero. So, yes, I agree. I think that's really good. But yeah, go check them out. We will, of course, link all of these resources and these people that we recommend you follow in the show notes. So you can go and check those out. And
Mm.
if you want to follow a broadcast channel, I just started one up last night. So you can find that over in my Instagram profile at Shall We Social. That broadcast channel at the moment is specifically geared towards sharing Instagram reels, ideas and inspiration. So when I come across a really cool reel, I'm going to be sharing it on my broadcast channel so that you can get some inspiration or go piggyback off the sound or the template that they're using and level up your own Instagram reels. The
Oh,
final place, of course, where I get all of
yes.
my inspiration is TikTok. I love TikTok. I can't rave about it enough. Just the creativity on that app, it makes me so happy. Like the dopamine is dopamining.
Mm.
So it's a great place to do research, to be inspired by other creators, and just to learn a lot as well. If you want to learn about trends in your industry. If you want to learn about marketing, go and follow some of the big name marketers over there, and of course follow us while you're there at Mad Marketing Mums.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is so much to learn on that channel, so many ideas and inspiration. But as always, use your common sense. And if it seems too good to be true, these people, there are definitely some dodgy players over there who, again, are claiming to have phone calls with the head of email marketing, whoever that is. Be wise about it. But yeah, I've learned a ton over on that platform, and I'm sure that you will too. Okay, I can see we've got another question here from Tom. And it says, I'd like to know what you think of introducing a podcast into your marketing, seeing as you've done it so recently. Effort versus reward compared to other ways that you could be spending your time as a small business. Great question, Tom. Thank you for that. What would you say to this, Clem? I'd be interested to hear how, I guess, you've found podcasting. How has that helped with your business in the 6 odd months since we've started doing this?
So I think it depends. It depends on what you consider reward, because we all know that marketing is a slow burn. It's a long game. Again, it can be a slippery slope as well. In terms of the podcast, has it led to work? Yes. Has it led to us having squillions of dollars and Krishna and I living on a tropical island as we sip Mai Tais on the beach and Felipe and Bruce are massaging our feet? No, it has not.
I hate people touching my feet. Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse. That is not success.
All right, fine. Massaging your other hand.
Don't touch me. Just don't touch me.
Okay. All right. Felipe is just fanning you with a giant palm while Bruce is massaging my feet. Okay. So has it led to this fantasy? No. Were we expecting it to? No. We just know that it's led to work, but it's led to other opportunities as well. I think the biggest impact it has had is offline. We're getting messages from followers and guests about episodes that they've listened to. It's popped up some questions for them, or they've just wanted to just unpack it with us. And it's also given us an opportunity to speak one-on-one with some of the biggest and best names that we can think of in our industry that you wouldn't have the opportunity unless, you spent $1,000 at a conference or something. But they've wanted to come and talk to us on our platform. Sometimes not even ever meeting us in person. To me, that's insane.
That's the cool thing. I remember after we had Todd Collins on, we got on together and we're like, did that just happen? How did that even happen?
Why did he want to talk to us? He just said we were cool. It was nuts. And I ended up having a 15-minute conversation after we were recording, because you had to head off. And I think you had a nice chat with another guest as well. And we both said that the guests that we have had have been just so down to earth and not at all what we expected at all. That it's the pinch me moments and moments of glory that I don't think we would have ever experienced if we didn't think of doing this podcast. So I think
that's definitely been the highlight, I think, for me, and how much we've been able to then learn from our guests as well, because obviously we're bringing on people from different marketing disciplines who do things that are completely different to us, or do the same thing but in a really different way, and there's always something to learn from those conversations. We've also launched our mini audit service, and so we're getting people coming through from that. So again, while we're not making millions, we are getting business through it, and I think, as Clem said, it is a slow burn. Content marketing specifically is a slow burn, but I'm hoping there'll be a point. I find success is not linear.
No.
Instead, you do a bunch of things and suddenly there's this tipping point where all of those things culminate into a little exponential jump in terms of your success, quote unquote, or income coming in or inquiries or what have you. And so at the moment, Tom, I would say we've definitely put in more effort than there has been tangible reward. But ask us again in another 6 months, because I'm really hoping there'll be some tipping point between now and then for all of the work that we have been putting in.
Yeah, it's definitely not linear. That's for sure. But yeah, we'll review that question on our next Ask Us Anything episode in 6 months' time. All right. So next question is from Gunnar. So I hope I've pronounced that correctly. So I would like to know how business owners can play 2 to 3 social media channels with different content in an efficient way. That way prevents just copying the same as networks are different.
Yeah.
Krishla,
So
do you want to start?
omni-channel marketing, that's what we're really talking about here, and being able to share that content between platforms. First of all, you know what I'm going to say. But first of all, it comes back to understanding who your audience is on each channel. Yeah. So, what channels do you want to be on, first and foremost? Who are you trying to target? Then, once you have these channels established, okay, who's on which channel? So, is your Facebook audience the same as your TikTok audience? Or do you have quite different audiences on those channels? You need to know that so that you can then decide, okay, I've got this piece of content. Is it going to work over here with these people, or is it better suited to this group of people? Yeah. It's about the content that you're creating, not the types of content, not the formats that you're creating so much, but about, okay, what is this content and who exactly is it for? Then you can make those decisions around, okay, do I want to pop it over here? Do I want to take my reel and repurpose it over onto YouTube Shorts? Sometimes it's also, I think, a little matter of taking something and just popping it out onto these channels to see what happens. I have had, and especially lately, this didn't used to be the case. It used to be the case you put up something on TikTok and it would go gangbusters and get really incredible reach. Now I've noticed quite often my content is working better on Instagram, my video content, than it is on TikTok. So I know, okay, I'm going to have to adjust the way that I'm presenting those same ideas for my TikTok audience because it's not working. So I think it doesn't hurt to do a bit of carbon copying for testing. And then you take those results and you refine them to get things working on that individual platform and to play on the strengths and the culture, especially if we're thinking TikTok. It's got a really definite culture. And so you want to be presenting those content ideas in a way that's aligned with your audience on there, but the audience en masse to make sure that it's actually going to work and that it's suitable.
Yeah, so we've spoken about the audience side. Now let's talk about, say, the tech and operations side. So how do you start to get into this nitty gritty, efficient machine? So the way that I tell clients to start off with is, what's the most fun way for you to create content? Is it taking photos? Is it writing a blog? Is it shooting a video? Which one is it? Because you can, in the end, get an image off of a video. You can create an image off of text. You can get text off of a video as well. Like, there's more ways to skin a cat, Krishla.
Yuck, yuck. How dare you?
Yeah. But I start when I'm asking my clients, when we're trying to create this efficient content creation model, is what's your favorite way of creating content? Because it's also probably going to be the one that you like to do the most and the one that you can do the fastest as well, typically. Start off with that, because then you can break down into the other forms using that one medium and with the help of automation platforms and AI. That's really the critical part, because that will help your content wheel start to turn. So we're going to take the example of our podcast. So right now we are recording this in Riverside. It's recording not only the audio, but the video as well. We started off with video because we know that our channels are Instagram and TikTok. They both they don't necessarily require, but they both have avenues for us to do video on. And we also have some amazing guests that come on that make amazing responses. It's like, why not leverage that long form video? So we start off with the video. We use Descript to edit and remove filler words automatically, so we're not scoping through the transcript, trying to find those ums and ahs. Once we have finalized that interview video, that segment, we've removed everything, we're happy with it, we post it to YouTube. From YouTube, we use opusclips.io. I think it's opusclips.io. Don't worry, we will have this in the show notes, this link. And what they do is they can grab a YouTube video and create short snippets off of that video in with branded captions, as well as the transcript, and also tell you why the specific snippets they've chosen will perform well. So it's gone and done the analysis for you of what clips are good to post. It's created the clips for you as well with branded captions already. Brilliant. That's shaving hours of time already. Using those, we can post those onto Instagram and TikTok.
And you've got a step as well, Clem. Obviously, once we've created our video, we extract the audio and that becomes the podcast episode itself as well.
The most important part I've completely forgotten.
I know, there's too many things we can create out of this one video. Exactly. So that's the thing.
Yeah. But we extracting that audio, and mind you, that audio might not actually sound perfect, but we've extracted that audio. We just have to put our intro and our outro usually off of that one piece instead of going and editing everything in GarageBand, like we know that some people might have to do. We throw it into it's Adobe Podcast Enhance. It's a free platform from Adobe. It takes our recording and makes it sound podcast studio crisp. So our voices sound beautiful in your ears while you're listening to us on your morning walk or wherever. Like the number of things that you can do off of just that one video and leveraging AI to make it efficient is nuts. But I'd say start with that question and then build off of that using different platforms. And we can recommend so many platforms, but our podcast in itself is just one example of how you can do that and do that efficient content creation across platforms.
And you can do this manually too if you're like, all of those platforms and tools sound a little bit overwhelming. One thing that I recommend to my students when they create a piece of content, so say they are filming an Instagram reel, film that reel. Perhaps you create a minute-long reel with 3 tips. Download that onto your phone. Always download your reel to your phone if you're creating it inside of Instagram Reels in case it disappears. That's happened a lot. And then you can break that up into 3 smaller clips. And those smaller clips you could use again on Instagram, or you could take them over to TikTok and share them out as 3 separate pieces of content, or put them onto YouTube Shorts. So you can do this manually if you like as well. You could take that video and you could put it into a tool such as CapCut or InShot, or you could even just crop it on your phone and make a square video that you then put over onto Facebook. So you can do this that way. And these manual ways, we say manual, but they actually don't take that long either. Not with our smartphones. It's much easier. And if you want a tool that can help you to do what I just explained, but automatically, repurpose.io is amazing. Clem and I have both used this. We also had the founder and CEO of repurpose.io, Hanny, in to speak with us back in season 2, a little while ago. We'll link in the show notes. But this tool essentially does what I just explained that you can do manually. So if you were to post a video to your Instagram Reels, Repurpose can repost that video automatically over onto TikTok. It can put it onto YouTube Shorts, or even better, I should say, you can also download that into your Google Drive. So you've got a backup of that video, which is great if you want to reshare it at a later date. But also, just in case something happens to your platform, you've got a backup of all that content that you've spent time creating. What I really like about it as well is when it pulls your content through, you can elect to have it post automatically and immediately to another channel, or it can actually come into Repurpose's platform, and then you can go in and make tweaks. So you can adjust the written caption, you can change the hashtags or add or remove hashtags if they're not appropriate, say for the channel that you want to repurpose it onto. And you can make things relevant to that platform. So instead of saying link in bio on a YouTube caption, instead you might put the actual link in that caption. So you can make all those little edits before it's then pushed out onto those other channels. So that's a really incredible tool. Again, we'll pop it in the show notes. So along with all those other tools, we're going to have a lot of tools in our show notes this week, but seriously, they're all incredible. Again, you don't have to use any of them. You can do this manually and it doesn't take that long. I tend to manually repurpose a lot of my content because I like to play around and tweak or add cover images or what have you. And it doesn't really take long at all. So I hope that helps you, Gunnar, with that question and you're feeling inspired to try out your content, to use a few different platforms and just to see what's going to work for you and your audience.
Those are some really good questions, I think, for our first Ask Us Anything episode, Krishla.
Absolutely.
We would actually love to do this maybe once a season or something like that. So if you do have any questions, if this episode has inspired you and you just want to ask us something, where to find us on TikTok and Instagram, it's at Mad Marketing Mums, or you can even shoot us an email if you want to at hello@madmarketingmums.com. Send us your questions. We would love to know, even if it's a problem that you have marketing your business, like something's gone wrong and you're just not sure what to do, ask us. Let's see if we can help each other out.
Auntie Mad Mums,
Yeah.
Like agony aunts. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all the time we have for today. We'll list all the tools, notes, and people to follow, etc. in the show notes. And yeah, till next time.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.